All right. Let's give it a second.
Yep.
What time are you getting in again tomorrow?
I will be here. I'll be in Dallas at noon tomorrow.
Oh, gotcha. Are
Yeah.
you just pretty much, I mean, I guess you're going pretty much straight to the game, right?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stop at the hotel. Maybe go to your hotel, see what's at the Cotton Bowl stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then go from there.
Cool. Cool. I'm going to give it a little bit more time, but I'll just walk into it. All right, welcome back. It is Ohio State Hate Week, everybody. Miami Primetime Live. Shay with Jaden here today, as always. Jaden, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited, ready to go. I know you right now are in the Cotton Bowl Hotel. The
Yes.
Wi-Fi is not great, but you
No,
are
it
at
is
the Cotton
not.
Bowl Hotel in Arlington right now. How is everything over there right now?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I haven't gotten too much to see like a lot of stuff, but they've given us this really little. I don't think I'll ever use it, but it's a little Alexa with little combo stuff on it. They have a whole media availability. I gotta go explore this place a little bit more later on, but pretty good so far. Pretty good.
That's great. You are cutting out pretty badly, so I will. It's a little fidgety, but we'll make it work. We'll make it work. It's everything's kind of work in progress. I'm still in New York. Shay's in Dallas. I'll be in Dallas tomorrow, for the game, and I'm imagining there's a ton of Miami fans over there for the game. But yeah, it's Ohio State Hate Week. Very excited for this game tomorrow. I want to say that this game is a little bit of like playing with house money, where like Miami's kind of like they're 9.5 point underdogs. There's not a whole lot of other than like the rivalry that came from this game in 2003. There's not a lot of like you're playing for pride, in my opinion. You're not expected to win this game. You're not supposed to win this game. They're overmatched in a lot of different areas. We'll get into that, but this is still a game. I feel like you're playing with little house money, and you kind of want to just be like just play to win, play your kind of play a lot of fun, play a lot of happiness, kind of see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. There's not a team I fear too much that's left available. I know Ohio State's the defending champs and all that type of stuff, but the Miami has a lot of the tools to kind of match up really well with them going into this game, and so we'll kind of see how it rolls. I know they have both teams have kind of similar strengths and weaknesses going into this game, and so it'll. I'm more like I think Miami will be able to stay in the game. It's just a matter of how can they make the plays to go and take it and when it matters.
Yeah, I agree. I think. I mean, looking at the two teams, in the way I see Miami is like they have to play a perfect football game if they want to win this. Versus Ohio State, maybe doesn't have to, but it's still going to be like a fantastic game on all sides of the ball. So I feel like we're gonna have to play. I mean, on both sides of the ball, have to play perfect football. The offense has to be better than it was against A&M. The defense has to really step up. Ohio State's got a great defense and a solid offense, so everything's gonna it's gonna come down to execution and the way that they play. And I'm excited for it all. Nervous, of course. Maybe not as nervous as A&M. Maybe because I think that A&M was like, I need to win this game. This one, I'm like, let's just kind of see how it goes. Essentially.
Yeah, yeah, I think there isn't as much pressure on it. Like with this Ohio State team, we could pull up deep waters comment over here. I do think we have the edge on the line of scrimmage. I wouldn't say Downs is overrated, but it is yeah. I think Miami has I think there's the talent is on both sides is pretty evenly matched, I would say.
Yeah, I think if you compare what they have between the two sides, so like on the Miami side, I would say Ohio State's defense to me is what stands out right away is like legit. Their defense is crazy legit. The talent is there. I think Caleb Downs, I don't know if you call Caleb Downs overrated. I think he's a great player, but the defense specifically that they got guys everywhere. The talent is ridiculous. Their defense is the best in college football, and they play like they're the best in college football. I am most afraid of that defense more than anything. On offense, I mean, I saw an Indiana team do a really good job against them. I've seen Texas do a pretty good job against them. I've seen a lot of teams do a pretty decent job against that offense. The defense is what scares me. That defense is a powerhouse. It is so good. at so many different things. They can get you in so many different areas. They're the best in the passing defense. They're the best in the running defense. They allow 8.8 points per game. They are just ridiculous on defense. And for a Miami offense just isn't as good as it has been, like last year's team, it's going to be a tough challenge for sure. Like A&M had a good defense. This Ohio State defense is, in my opinion, like almost significantly better than A&M's between the guys they have, and on the Miami side, for what they have between, what they have to do to kind of win that game, it's going to be got to play. Their execution has to be better than it did against A&M.
Like we said, like we talked about with Indiana. They were Ohio State's offense last week. I mean, last time we saw them was held to 10 points, so it doesn't have to be this perfect game for the Miami offense as long as Miami's defense plays up to what we know it can do. So if they're playing at the level that we know this defense can play at, this offense, as long as they make big play, a few critical plays in the spots that we need it to, the kicking game has to be on point because Miami's probably going to have to settle for field goals a few times. So Carter Davis not going to have to worry about win the week. Miami, we know last week had 3 kicks go by the way of wind, kind of blown the kick out of it. So I think Miami's offense can get enough done this week on that Ohio State defense to kind of keep them in the game. It's just a matter of how much leeway are they going to have with what this defense puts together.
Yeah, I think if we want to talk about like keys to the game right away, I would say offensively, it's the way that they played against A&M. It honestly just can't happen. If you're going to rely on the running game, then you can. I think for Shannon Dawson, at least, he's got to find a balance between, hitting the A gap, that whole debate we had at the beginning of the year, and then towards the end of the year, the lot of trick plays, finding a balance between, actually giving the ball to Tony in space versus giving him, the trick plays, the Mally Cat plays, or, hitting the A gap. If you can find a balance of that, you can keep them on their toes and, finding ways to, do different things on offense, kind of like get them different, doing that. For me, in total, they can win this game if they can win the trenches. They definitely have a shot. They have a legitimate shot to win the game if they control the trenches between how good our offensive line is, between how good our defensive line is. We control the trenches like we have all season long. We can keep ourselves in the game.
Yeah, and James Kane put it as simple right here. Establish a run, win the turnover battle, and you're going to be in this game. And that's what Miami, it sounds a lot easier said than done, but if those things happen for Miami, I think there's a really good shot they can, Beck one as put them up Deepwater's thing right here.
Yeah.
It needs to be one of those games where Beck makes the critical throws when Miami needs it to. He needs to hit, he needs to be on point, not necessarily asking him for too much this game, but to make the plays when they're there for him, to make the simple plays, as the game goes on, but also those critical throws when we need it to, when we ask him, when we call upon him for those bigger plays. Not that there will be too many opportunities, but like when he's called on, don't turn over the football, don't put the ball in harm's way in one way or another. Just be calm, poised, and play within yourself.
Yeah, I thought he played okay against A&M. He's got to play better than that. I think he's going to have to hit some better throws, make some better plays. The first one I thought of, like Deepwater mentioned, that JoJo Trader is going to get involved in the deep shot game, with the game being in a neutral environment and a neutral site in a dome. It's going to help Carson Beck on certain plays, and one of them's the deep shot. He had a look to JoJo Trader, who was wide open, and he missed them. I imagine JoJo Trader is going to be out on the field for a deep shot. I want Beck to hit that throw. I want Beck to hit a lot of easy open throws, whether it be a screen to Marion a slant to Marion, a screen to Tony, whatever it may be. Play your brand of football, but it's got to be at an elevated rate. He can't make silly mistakes that he did in the regular season. He's got to play that 2023 style where if he needs to take over a game, take over a game. If the offense is struggling, maybe the run game's not doing their job, he has to step up. So he's got to play. He's got to really step up and play his best brand.
Yeah, I think what we're probably going to see is kind of the formula where they are going to probably sell out on the run based off of what happened last week. Dare Beck to be like, okay, drop back and pass, and let's see what you can do, and try and beat this, beat the secondary, get the throw off before this very talented defensive line gets home. So they're going to probably challenge him in this offensive line to hold up and make those throws rather than the other way around, where they're like, we'll take back throwing around the ball around if we can stop the run. That's probably where I think they're going to lean towards, just based off of, I think if you can, this defense being very opportunistic from Ohio State, if they can force Beck into some turnovers just by daring him to throw the ball and hoping he puts the ball in harm's way, then I think Beck needs to be on point, because if they're going to dare him to throw by coming down on the run, he needs to make air the ball out when it needs to, but also keep the ball protected.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that you maybe Beck doesn't deserve all that kind of blame for the deep ball game, but he, in the weather and in the environment, it was tough for him. In a neutral site, in a dome, I'm expecting a lot more from him for this game. I'm just expecting him to make the throws that he needs to. Like, he can't blame, the weather was bad or the crowd was bad. Like, it's got to be a perfect game. I think he's just got to play a really, really great game from him in general. And then in terms of the bubble screen stuff, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. They fly. That Ohio State defense flies around the field between downs to the safety. Their linebacker group of Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, their D line's incredible. You have to find a way to, I guess, expand on the offense, find a way to, put them on their toes, just do something that can, I don't know, tire out that defense or be opportunistic. Maybe that defense gets a stop and the offense is able to, I don't know, get 20 yards and kick a field goal, something like that. You got to find a way to get points at any point you can.
Yeah, definitely. I think because last week what we saw is that even off of turnovers, off of turnovers might be forced, off that big Malachi Tony punt return, they weren't able to capitalize with points. And I think any opportunity you get into scoring position, not only field goals will help, and Carter Davis not having to worry about the win should be on point this week.
Mm-hmm.
But they need to capitalize with touchdowns, because when you're given key opportunities in easy scoring position, this team that we saw so many times, like last week, just stalled out so frequently right in the red zone and in that short yard, on their side of the field. That even though Miami was in position a lot of times to kick a field goal to go and score, they weren't able to, because Carter was missing field goals. So if he isn't on point, because it's some spiraling last week, then you need to make sure you're capitalizing with touchdowns this week. If Julian Sand gets a strip sack and you bring it down close, he's picked off, something to get Miami into scoring position, that needs to result in a touchdown. That can't just be settling for 3, because you don't know how many opportunities you're going to get to go down the field and get in that easy of scoring position.
At any time that you can get a touchdown, you need a touchdown. Between against the game against A&M with the Malachi Tony punt return, that didn't turn the points. The very first drive of the third quarter didn't lead the points. The strip sack on Marcel Reed didn't turn the points. Like, just so many of those moments that didn't turn into points can't happen, because if you don't get points on any of those drives, Ohio State can easily just dominate you. Easily take out of it. And the biggest one as well, stay out of the third and long. If you, I don't know, I guess if your first play is a run up the middle of Fletcher and it only gets you 3 yards, your 2nd and 7 play, and maybe Fletcher runs up the middle again, he loses 3 yards. Like, those plays can't happen. The offense has to be rolling on a consistent basis, but especially on first and second down, so you get those easier third downs to make the offense's life significantly easier.
Yeah, and I think another thing that we saw last week is that Miami had these good first plays as drive starters, but didn't really have the consistency. And so maybe you get that first down, but then the drive after it goes short run, incomplete pass, 3rd and long, dropping back, and now Beck can't really, it's predictable. You can't really get the ball downfield. And A&M got home a couple times last week. So between those different things, that kind of helped. That kind of was, that also helped stall out drives for Miami. So I'm confident in Shannon Dawson to get drives going. I just need to see him cook stuff up to kind of develop consistency within a drive, play to play, down to down, first set of downs,
One of the things that Dawson loved focusing on in the beginning of the year was those like extended 9-minute drives that like led to touchdowns, especially against like in the game like UF having a drive like that. I don't imagine we're going to have a drive like that because of how good Ohio State's defense is. I think you're going to have to get some good chunk 20-plus yard plays that are going to really be game changer, like flip the field kind of plays, because I don't imagine Miami is going to be able to kind of withstand some of these 9-minute drives with how good Ohio State's defense is. They could be one string of two or three plays, and they can easily force a punt or force a field goal. That to me is like Miami's got to get some explosive plays, like Malachi Tony in space. Find a way to do that. A one-on-one with CJ Daniels where he can, moss a guy. He can be, bigger than the guy. JoJo Trader deep ball, which we talked about. Like things like that you got to see more of some explosive plays, kind of the way that they did against FSU, stuff like that. I want to see.
Yeah. Whether it's trick plays, whether it's getting the run going, so you set up some play action deep shots.
Yeah.
Those I think would be very crucial in setting those up. So back to the point of it is establishing the run so you can set up those trick plays, that play action. Give Beck the time to go and find a guy downfield on some plays so that these drives aren't 10 play 81-yard drives. They're 5 for 75s, quicker drives that kind of get you down the field with 5 plays, few deep shots, a few plays that break off for some explosive 20-yard runs, 20-yard catch and runs, whatever it be. Just plays to just quick explosives that get Miami down the field fast, and that we don't have to worry about, 3rd and 2, it getting stuffed up the gut, and then you're like, oh, what do we have to do? Or then you're punting it back because you're no territory, stuff like that. Like I think setting the tone early on in the run so you can set up the play action is going to be so crucial in this game, because Miami needs to buy themselves some explosive plays and some quick drives.
Yeah, I'm nervous for sure that if Fletcher, Pringle, Tony, whoever is running the football doesn't get it going, I'm nervous that things can kind of go bleak on that offense, because then you just have Carson Beck, essentially hero ball. Him being the entire system of the offense, to me, scares me a little bit more than at least having the run game, because what won us against A&M was Mark Fletcher. Like he won us that game. A&M's defensive line, their run game was pretty poor. Ohio State, I believe they're currently ranked 5th in rushing defense, 84.5 rushing yards allowed per game. And Miami's allows 87. So they're right there with Miami's D-line. They're lethal. Cade McDonald's a stud. They have a very, very, very strong defensive line that is great against the run. I'm nervous that if the run game doesn't get anything going, things go bad when Beck has to take control. We saw that with SMU, and we saw that with Louisville.
Yeah. But when you put everything on Beck, we have seen some of those games where it can kind of spiral out of control, especially if he starts to force things. The Louisville, the SMU game, not as much, because I felt like he had some moments where it was bad, especially the last pick. But I feel like the offense kind of got conservative after the JoJo bobble that led to that interception, because he in terms of taking shots downfield, he was pretty on point that day. The Louisville game, 100% a great example of it, just because he got pressure on him, started forcing shots downfield, and it turned into that 4 interception game. And one good thing to point out right here is that we got, especially in the middle, Brockermeyer has had his issues in terms of running up the gut. So we got to see, can Miami kind of get a push of the middle, open that hole. The big play, Mark Fletcher, was that one where Brockermeyer was able to seal the D tackle, Fletcher right up the alley, in for that 56-yard run.
Yeah, some of those blocking plays got to be key. I believe CJ Daniels had some key blocks. That whole line, Fletch, whoever it may be, they obviously have to make their blocks, hit their assignments, do what they need to do. I firmly believe that this game has to be a perfect offensive, a perfect game just in general if they want to win, versus like Ohio State maybe doesn't have to. So that to me is like where I'm at. Like Miami has to play its best brand at all times, not like having some lulls against like Notre Dame, where they had a stretch of time where they went 3 and out like 3 times. They can't have these lulls. They have to be playing their best brand of football at all times. And we've seen it. We've seen them at their highest. We've seen them at their lowest. It depends on what kind of Miami we're getting on a certain day, what kind of Carson Beck we're getting on some day. Got to be at its best. Because if you don't get a good Miami team, Ohio State gets in front early, you might call that game wraps right away. So you gotta just start out hot right out the gate and move forward from there.
Yeah, 100%. The offense, I think, will probably take time to get going. If anything, just we've seen this year. defense does need to play like it has all year. Come out hot from the jump, put pressure on Sayin, put pressure on his offense, get something going, force a turnover early on, just something to help this Miami offense out, so that they don't have all this burden on them to go and get these long drives going, march down the field, these long drives. So I think Miami's defense, more than a thing, needs to come out hot. I think Miami's offense, just kind of what we've seen this year, will work its way into the game in all likelihood. And so, the story of this game will be, can Miami's defense play up to par once again and kind of keep things low scoring, keep the flow of the game kind of muggy, and just kind of bog down the Ohio State offense.
And in that kind of same vein about our defense versus their offense is, equally as loaded, in my opinion, as their defense, between Julian Sayin, Bo Jackson, Jeremiah Smith, and Carnell Tate. Like, they have guys everywhere. It's going to be a tough challenge for that Miami defense, probably the toughest one all year. I guess my question to you, Shay, how do you stop a tandem like Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate?
It's a lot. A lot of this is a lot easier than that, but it's to prevent the plays from developing, which was back the home of what this Miami defense is built on, that their pass rush. This pass rush between Bain and Mesidor, Justin Scott, Amon Moden, David Blake, regardless, whoever you want to say, they need to get home fast and often and force this Ohio State offense into the quick game, because I think just what we see this Miami defense develop is that teams started to try and hurt them with the quick game as the season went on, and they kind of adapted to it, got down, played physical, got their corners, linebackers, safeties all playing physical at the catch point and preventing these after what's his name from Louisville carved them up that one game. Chris Bell, after Chris Bell carved them up with all that short game and short game kind of explosives, they've done a really good job in terms of recovering and adapting to where teams are going to try and hurt them through the quick game and preventing the pass rushers from getting home. So I think Miami's pass rushers need to establish they're better than Ohio State's front five. Our front four is better than your front five. We talked about it during A&M. Make them want hope that they have the arrogance to just say, okay, we'll block. Our guys can block your guys straight up with no help. Yeah. That's basically what you want to try and that's what you're going to hope they want to do, and hope that they're going to go for these longer developing passing plays. But if not, then it's going to rely on our corners and safeties and linebackers to wrap up tackle, force break up these short passes, force short gains when it comes to these when it comes to these passes, and get down on the run, which they have all season. I'm comfortable with them doing. It's just this game, it's a must.
I agree. I think if you can stop Bo Jackson and force them into a passing only, it's a benefit. And then you have to find a way to, because I imagine they're going to be going pretty quick on some of these plays. Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, they're both, elite receivers that can get, they can create space, they can run, they can just do pretty much anything as receivers. And they're both 6'3". They're both, great kind of players. Ryan Day is going to be calling the plays, which is going to be a little bit interesting. I wonder how that changes the way their system has been with Brian Hartline going to USF. But like Jeremiah Smith this year, he had 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns. Carnell Tate, 838 yards, 9 touchdowns. These guys are both, they're going to be in a ton. They're going to be getting a ton of yards at all times. I'm more curious the way that they kind of do it. Is Jeremiah Smith going to be one-on-one, or is Miami going to try to, do a zone? My guess is Miami's going to try to stick to like a zone in the way that maybe if they're going to try a lot of go underneath, prevent Bain and Mesidor from getting home, a lot of quick plays, stuff like that you were mentioning. That's a little scary for me. I'll be honest. I think that's scary to me. I think they are going to come up passing. I think absolutely. There's no reason they don't. With how good our D-line looks against the run, the passing game is going to be there, and I think they're just going to do a lot of quick throws because you have the receivers, you have the guys.
Yeah, and with Damari Brown, I believe, is he confirmed out?
He is out, yeah.
That bigger corner that you would love to have matching up with Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate is both bigger receivers. So that's a big loss that you're not going to have. So you're going to rely a lot more on OJ, Xavier Lucas, Keontae Scott, we know is up to the challenge.
Yep.
But all of them need to kind of come together for this game. And just play physical football. I think that's what this game's going to be. This game's going to be a physical football game, and the team that yes, I do think you need to kind of press and make those plays take longer to develop, but also I would not that I wouldn't trust Xavier Lucas necessarily, but that is a very tough ask to tell him you're going to be pressed man against Jeremiah Smith the entire game.
It's going to be a chess match for sure between the two of them.
Yeah, 100%. So, whether it's Bryce over the top, Bryce over the top needs to be on point. Jacoby Thomas, he needs to do what he's done all season: play physical, play fast. And whether he's on blitzes, whether he's just coming down and hitting guys, he needs to continue to play the style he's played. This Miami defense just needs to not step out of their own. What's the word?
Like get out of its own way.
No, not out its own way, but they need to play their brand football. They can't be you can't let Ohio State dictate the way Miami's going to play this game. And so, you got to continue to play that fast physical style football we've seen all year from this team. And what conference officiating? Let me take a quick
I
sip.
think it's SEC. I could be totally wrong.
You're right.
But,
it is SEC.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know if it's good or bad or anything. I just know it's not Big Ten or ACC.
Yeah.
I think one thing I will say about Mario Cristobal teams, they're always up for the challenge against really talented teams. So I think, because 9.5-point favorites to me is a little bit crazy. Because I think Miami is going to stay within this game throughout it, no matter how much more, I guess, talented you want to say Ohio State has over Miami. I think Miami's going to be in this game at all times. Charles, I agree 100%. Everything Indiana had, Miami has as well. Like that D-line, Indiana's got a great D-line. They sacked Julian Sand 5 times. If Miami can find a way to sack Julian Sand 5 times, they can easily find a way into this game. When you look at the way that Indiana beat Ohio State, consistent pass rush. Their pass rush got there at all times. And Jeremiah Smith had 144 yards in that game. And they found a way to win, to limit Ohio State's offense significantly. And on offense, it was kind of like their offense was struggling for a lot of the game. Mendoza made the needed throws that he needed to. He found the right guys. They got a late drive touchdown. That's the stuff that your Miami's going to need as well. That defense has to be perfect. And then on offense, the timely and key throws that will help them win that game.
Yeah, 100%. And it is going to come down to this defense. Like you just said, defense needs to be awesome. And Beck, as a passer, needs to make the plays when they're there for him. I don't know how many there will be, how many opportunities there'll be for big shots downfield or big-time plays. But when they are there, when you have CJ Daniels sold up on the outside occasionally, JoJo Trader, if he's able to streak downfield and get open, when those plays are there, Beck needs to hit them. He cannot, you can't airmail one of those throws like we saw to JoJo last week. So like those, when the plays and opportunities are there, Miami needs to make them because there's not going to be a lot of do-overs. You're not going to get too many opportunities to make a big play down the field on this Ohio State team. So when the opportunities are there, you need to capitalize. You need to capitalize big. You need to capitalize as many times as you can.
Yeah, I mean, you even look back at the Indiana game, Big Ten championship. Ohio State had 10 points. Ohio State only had, I believe, 6 sacks on. They only been sacked 6 times that entire year. Indiana sacked them 5 times. Similar vein, Miami or A&M. A&M had been sacked. I don't know. I want to say
it was 12.
12 was it 12 times?
12
and then
times
Miami got 7 sacks total. So Miami's defense knows how to play against a very, very talented defense. Offensive line. Miami has the best offensive line in college football, and they match up against them every week in practice. So I have no concern in the way that Bain and Mesidor and Blunt and Lightfoot and all those guys are going to show up on that defensive line, that defensive front. That defense has to be swarming and playing, in all times, getting, making Sand uncomfortable, kind of, getting to him in all times. Like that's how Indiana won. Indiana they limited Sand in some capacity. They sacked him. They forced him into an interception. They got him at certain times, and then they only scored 10 points. Like Miami's got to find a way to do something similar to that if they want to win. Like this game's gonna be a low scoring. I think it's gonna be a dogfight. I think it's gonna be a battle of attrition. And like at the end of the game, whoever wins in the trenches will probably win this game.
Yeah. And a good thing that Daniel over here pointed out is that you can't expect the exact same game plan that
Agreed.
Ohio State went into Indiana. I have seen the criticism a lot of heavy set formation that didn't really play into what Ohio State does very well against Indiana, more dictated towards what Indiana did very well. So I would expect an entirely different game plan out of Ohio State, and I think Miami needs to be on their toes for everything that Ohio State's going to toss at them this week. So I think they can't attack this game like they have. Need to look at their trend. You need to look at their trends. You can't attack this game exactly like Indiana attacked Ohio State. You got to look at the trends that Ohio State has had all season long and kind of come up with a game plan with that. Because I think Ohio State, based off the offense struggling against Indiana, is going to come out there with an entirely different game plan. Air the ball out more, a lot more spread formations. Try and force Miami's corners to cover. A lot of inexperience in the secondary, young guys, force them into positions that they haven't been in all season long. And though I think they'd step up, I've seen these young guys step up in the secondary a lot. Exactly. You gotta be alert. You gotta be alert for anything Ryan Day is going to dial up.
Him being the OC or him calling the plays for this game is definitely going to change the way they attack it. Obviously, they're going to throw out that game plan against Indiana, and they're going to try obviously do something different against Miami. And Miami's got to do something different, in that game as well. I think in terms of the way that Ohio State's going to attack. Again, I don't think their O-line is weak either. I think Ohio State's offensive line is ridiculously talented. I believe Sand only got sacked 11 times. Beck only got sacked 11 times. They got a great offensive line, but I think Miami's defensive line has proven that they can do really well against any offensive line, no matter who they are. That's kind of like where my mind is at for that. And then in terms of their offense, one thing I believe I'd heard, which is true in terms of last year's team, Ohio State didn't really open up the playbook at all last year, and until the game against Tennessee, and then they destroyed Tennessee, and they did it against Oregon. They destroyed Oregon, and they kind of steamrolled their way through the playoffs. I think this Ohio State team is better than it was last year, so I think that offense can easily open up the playbook, find some deep balls, find some shots that Miami's not going to see coming. There's probably going to be some broken coverages. There's going to be some plays like Miami's defense, in my opinion, probably won't play to that caliber that we've seen the entire year. This is just an entirely different kind of animal we're dealing with here with Ohio State.
Yeah, because I think unlike a lot of teams, this Ohio State offense has a lot of different ways they can attack you. You think about A&M, where it was really just the two receivers and the quarterback scramble that Miami was able to deal with.
Yeah,
were great running games. Miami really hasn't had a team that has both to this quality yet. The season between what they're able to do, Bo Jackson, that group on the ground, and then from the air with Sand, Tate, and Jeremiah Smith. So it is a lot. But this is good to know, knowing that their starting right guard is out. Something a matchup that you can attack. Test the freshman early and often. Every time there's an injury, you want to just test the guy that's stepping in just to see can they handle the spotlight. So it will be interesting to see how Miami does that. If they're going to move Bane around a bunch, or they're going to send him inside, send him stunts and twists, kind of like what Daniel over here said. They struggle against twists and stunts, kind of picking those up, especially in the Indiana game. So you want to try and force, especially when there's new communication going on in that offensive line group, test them as much as test what they're seeing as often as you can.
Okay. Them rotating two guards kind of changes it because he's been in the rotation, he's been starting, but still stands. Like I have faith in Bane and Mesidor and whoever else is there on the defensive line group that no matter who they're up against, they're going to generate pressure and they're going to force things. One thing that helps, Marcel Reed, mobile quarterback. Miami kind of struggled early on in that game against a mobile quarterback. Julian Say is not, I wouldn't call him a mobile quarterback. I would call him more of a pocket guy. So that's more of a help for Miami in that aspect. I also would agree with this about OJ Frederick. I think OJ Frederick can be good. I don't know if I want OJ Frederick one-on-one with Carnell Tate, objectively. I don't know if I want that. I think I think he's going to need some help, whether it be Jacoby Thomas, Keontae Scott, Bryce, whoever it may be. I'm interested to see in the way that OJ plays. I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that one as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's just to talk about the Like he was genuinely really good as a freshman, I would say. I know the defense was awful, and so that kind of makes you wonder, was he just the best part of a really bad group? I think OJ, for the most part, I think Syracuse game aside, when he got torched a bunch, was pretty good was really good as a freshman for the most part.
He had a great freshman year.
Huh?
He had a great freshman year.
Yeah, he had a great freshman year. Syracuse game aside. I believe so. So I trust him when he's healthy. The injuries have kind of been a concern late in the season. So his injury in the secondary entirely between Keontae's now fully healthy, thankfully, but between him being injured, now you have Damari Brown injured, and now you have OJ kind of stepping back into this cornerback lineup. So yeah, I agree with you, Jaden. I don't fully trust any of our corners, to be very honest, fully against this great receiver duo. But based off of what we've seen, where maybe Casey Conception isn't the level of guy that Jeremiah, well, maybe Conception and Craver aren't the level of these two, but we saw Miami kind of, even though there were a couple plays, guys got open, guys got downfield, bending, not breaking, and forcing turnovers in key spots is what kind of let Miami be in that game. And so, yeah. Like I think Miami can. I think even if those guys go off a little bit, I think Miami can still kind of contain this Ohio State offense, because Indiana. I know 50 yards of it came on that Hail Mary at the end of the game, but Jeremiah Smith had 140 yards against Indiana, and they scored 10 points. So there's a way for, even if those guys are creating plays downfield, as long as they're not punching in for touchdowns, Miami can definitely stay in this game.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I was going to say the same thing about Craver and Conception. I do think at the same time that Craver and Conception's not Tate and Smith, but they're pretty good. They're very talented guys that had good games. They had a great year. They're not Smith and Tate, but Miami's going to have to do something similar in terms of limiting them. But I'd say the difference is that Bo Jackson is better than Le'Veon Moss and Ruben Owens. So that's gonna, and Ohio State can get you in a bunch of different areas that doesn't include necessarily Tate and Smith. Like, they're not a two-man show. So just getting Tate and Smith is one thing. You then have to look everywhere else and see what else they have. And in terms of like the Indiana game, Ohio State probably should have forced overtime, but Jaden Fielding missed a 23-yard field goal. I don't know if he's going to miss again like that. So I'm intrigued on that. And, in the comments about that guard play with Ohio State, does seem like it's going to be a benefit between whoever's going to be out there for Miami on there.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I'm not too familiar with Tegra, but based off of the comments right now, it seems like a favorable matchup for Miami to potentially exploit, even if he is healthy or isn't healthy. And it isn't the interior of the defensive line that really has stolen the show for Miami this year, but those guys in the middle are more than capable of causing havoc. We've seen what Justin Scott can do at his best. We've seen what Ahmad Boda can do at his best. Like, we've seen what these guys on the interior can do when teams are just focusing on keeping Miami from the edges, that they can create havoc up the middle. So, so I think Miami will, even maybe it's one guy, so I don't know if that is able to entirely wreck a game, especially when it isn't a tackle. Like a guard you can help a bunch with a guard, especially if they're struggling. So it's possible, but I don't know if it will help dominate the game. Good point here is the special teams could come and be crucial in this game, especially if it's going to be low scoring. I don't think teams are very high on either of these kickers. I really like what Carter Davis has done this season.
Overall,
I know last game was rough.
Yeah, I'm hoping that was a kind of a one-time thing. But I am looking at Jaden Fielding right now. He's attempted 3 50-yard field goals in his career. He's 0 for 3. His career long's 49. And his, he missed 3 field goals this year, including that chip shot field goal against Indiana. Definitely something that could be of concern. I don't know. I know it's in a dome as well. I know the Big Ten championship was in a dome as well. But to me, that also thought was like a one-time thing. I don't know. I guess I don't watch Jaden Fielding enough. I know Ohio State fans feel a way about Jaden Fielding, but is special teams really going to be like, the game-changing play? I don't know. I know that Malachi Tony can change the game.
Yeah, I was going to say. I was going to say, if special teams can definitely change this game, especially the return game. If Mally gets one down the field, that could Miami. We talked about it earlier. Like Miami needs to capitalize on those plays if Malachi puts you in scoring position off of those punt returns.
Yeah.
But also, like, not that it's guaranteed, but I've been waiting for Keelan Marion to break one loose from this kick return game all season long.
They gotta give him the ball. They gotta kick the ball off to him.
Yeah, which I mean, maybe it's just if they decide to kick it out of the back of the end zone, he never gets a shot at it. But I do want to see him break one, and I think he has the ability to go and break one downfield. I mean, we've seen a couple of them where he's gotten close on those kick returns this year. We know what he did last year at BYU as an All-American kick returner. So we haven't seen it fully yet, but those types of guys could flip the game from a special team standpoint. And then also Dylan Joyce, how he punts the ball, especially if it's going to be a game of field position, could be crucial. This is fun. The kicking battle here. So, like, in kicking battle is going to be very important, though. I think whether Carter Davis, I think was more of a one-off just because of the wind. I know he has one or two other missed ones this year.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong, but
he's got a leg too. Like he can hit from 50.
He has the leg for it. I want to see what the full stats are.
And then like in terms of this is extremely dumb now that I'm thinking about it. In Jerry World specifically, that jumbotron, you always see like if you see those kickers, those punters, like they'll kick it and then it'll hit the scoreboard on there, the bill, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm thinking of something about that stadium. But in general, this game is like in a neutral site, neutral environment. So I don't think that's gonna be really that much of a factor. Yeah. I thought losing both Borgalises over the last however many years we've had them, I thought it was gonna be killer for us. And the fact that Carter Davis stepped up, he's won us games. He's been a money kicker, apart from A&M in bad weather, in bad conditions. Yeah, 15 of 20 with 3 misses at A&M. He's missed 2 kicks outside of the game against A&M. I thought he had a really great year, so I'm not totally worried about him. And truthfully, I wasn't totally worried about Jaden Fielding either. But if Ohio State fans are, maybe that's something to be looking out for.
Yeah, so it's something that I know it's 50-50. So I think it's kind of a wash, I would say, in the kicking game. I don't think Carter Davis sucks. I've seen Carter Davis, he drilled a game winner to start the year, and so he's bought all my respect.
Me too.
For all the time.
Yeah.
But so I'm not worried necessarily. Like I said, I think most of it was just last week, and then a couple of random ones that didn't really factor into the game. Actually, was one of them. One of them might have been in that Louisville game.
I think SMU he missed a kick.
SMU? Okay, yeah, he missed one.
And the other one might have been Pitt. I think I could be totally wrong about it, but if I were to take a guess, I thought it was SMU and Pitt.
Yeah, but point is, he's been pretty solid all year. I'm sure Fielding's been solid all year, so it might just be a wash at kicker. But exactly.
We're arguing over kickers right now.
I know, right? This is
semantics.
fun.
Yeah, like
this
in general, like I think looking at this game, I'm more. If you're a fan of defense, it's going to be such a fun game defensively between just the guys you're watching on the field, people that are looking into the draft. If you're a fan of an NFL team, like I am, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, 2 of the best edge rushers going at each other. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Caden McDonald, Miami, Keontae Scott, Akeem Mesidor, Jacoby Thomas. Like, there's guys that have been money all year long defensively that are, gonna get high draft picks. These games are gonna be huge for them. I'm super excited to watch it. Like watching Arvell Reese is a stud. Even Caden Curry too. So much of a stud. But watching Ruben Bain, I know that this is a huge game for him. I think this is going to be such a fun, chess match between Corey Heatherman and the Ohio State defense. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, it will definitely be really cool to watch. I mean, just the amount of NFL players who are going to be on both sides of the field on this game. And this game is going to be just going to make it so exciting. We know Bain, Mesidor. We know Bain and Mesidor on Miami side. Obviously, Reese, Caleb Downs. Now Sonny Styles is a monster who kind of gets forgotten in the mix of that, just because those other 2 guys are outstanding. So and yeah, so like it is going to be a chess match between great.
Can't wait for it. I think it's going to be so fun. Like
such a coaching chess match between these teams.
Yeah, and hopefully Mario doesn't do his own thing in terms of
exactly.
the clock management. So the South Florida stuff, like there's so many guys from South Florida here. It's a huge game for Miami, for the city of Miami, for the entire South Florida area. Huge game in that regard as well. So on the biggest stage, two of the biggest brands, rivalry kind of renewed after 2003. Like everything about this game to me is so intriguing that it's clearly in my eyes like one of like the best game of the 2-day span.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about the other ones. Indiana. The thing is, the second round is just very good. It is a phenomenal second round of college football that we're gonna have here. So I mean, personally, look, love Mario. Don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up.
Fingers crossed on that.
The true talent in South Florida is going to be on full display. Like, it's going to be really impressive to watch. A really cool thing just for for the entire area down in South Florida. So that's going to be cool. This whole game, I don't know. I love everything going into this game. Even the stuff that happened yesterday, which obviously bad for Miami, but things happens with I can't remember his name right now.
Jacobs.
Yes.
Jacobs, yeah.
Swear Miami had the inside track on him for the entirety of his for the last bit of his recruiting. Ohio State comes in. My guess is they up the bid on him. Yep. They get him. Hasn't technically, like, he's committed to them, but he said he will also take recruiting visits at Miami and A&M. So I don't know if he's gonna officially go there, but he's a stud as well. I didn't see that one coming. I thought Miami had him. Him going to Ohio State, it's a little jab at us, little win right before it happened. Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's recruiting at the end of the day. Like, Miami loves the trenches. Ohio State's great in the trenches too. It's fun. It's whoever, like, wherever these kids go to, you wish them nothing but the best. They're getting paid. They're doing, some of these guys are getting life-changing money, and credit to them.
Yeah, exactly. So you win some, you lose some, and you go about it. Like I said, like you said, there is still plenty of time to make up the ground on them. Miami, we talked about a little bit, but Justin Scott, Mark Fletcher, both guys who were committed.
Jordan Lyle too.
Jordan Lyle, like both guys who were committed to Jordan Lyle, Ohio State as well.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, all guys committed to Ohio State before Miami was able to flip him back. So it kind of happens. It's one of those things that just happens, and you kind of move on. You move on, and then you still fight for them because you got a whole other year before they actually have to show up to college. But it is, you win some, you lose some. And Miami, I think they got the left tackle is still projected to
Miami.
Still projected to Miami.
Is that his name?
I'm forgetting the name, but the Miami had the 1 and 2 players projected. You lose the 2, or you lose the 1. I forgot whatever was higher. So
move forward. Yeah, exactly. Like, we're great on, like, we can flip. I don't really care, right? Like, right now, I'm not in recruiting mode right now.
Just to be like, this guy's definitely gone.
Yeah, that's true. Like, whenever the season ends, then we'll get into recruiting mode. I'm focused on Ohio State right now, but it was just something that happened last night that I found interesting. And also a good point from James. For Miami fans, really bake in Corey Heatherman. Really, like, however long Corey Heatherman's going to be here for, really enjoy these years that you have him, and hope that the next DC can kind of do what he did, because he saved us big time in every facet. So you gotta hold on to him in all ways. And I'm sure Ohio State might feel the way about Matt Patricia, the way that defense has been so good with him as a DC.
I mean, literally, they just lost Brian Hartline, which I know he's still around technically, but those guys who have massive impacts on the program just from success. So, like, Corey Heatherman has been so huge for this year, and the staffs on both these teams are very impressive. So time will tell, but once again, bask in the glory that is Corey Heatherman, which his defense is phenomenal. So, yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I saw this too. every time they showed his dad's reaction, Jacobs, his dad was not very happy.
Oh,
I
no,
I
not
did hear the thing that like Georgia was in on him, but him being Mark Richt's godson technically helps Miami as well as it helps Georgia, obviously. And he's from Georgia too. I get it. But I don't know. It's a little early in his recruiting. I know he said that he's committed to Miami, or to Ohio State, but there's a world where I think he can flip anywhere at this point.
Yeah.
Wherever the money is. We have no idea. We have no idea.
English.
Wherever the money's right.
Cam Coleman, keep an eye on that. I saw
Ooh,
Dylan Upshaw posting about him and Cam Coleman back in the day.
I thought about him being boys with Dalen Upshaw might help us. I don't know. I would love Cam Coleman at Miami.
Huge in that one. That
He
would be phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Mhm.
There's so many transfers that like that you look at and you're like, he could be a game changer.
Exactly.
We'll talk portal probably, when Miami season ends. If we lose tomorrow, and we'll get into it next Monday, but we'll see. Very excited for this game. Like overall, I'll be heading to Dallas tomorrow for the game. Shay is in Dallas right now, which is why his Wi-Fi has been so spotty this whole time. But yeah, Shay, we got to do it. Score prediction.
I'm gonna go with 13.
What was
Did I
that?
cut out? I did. Oh yeah, I definitely cut out. 17-13.
17-13 Miami.
No other way. No
All
other
right.
way.
I will also. I'm not going to change my bias. I will pick Miami. Us picking Miami is pure bias. I will admit that. I'm going to go
100%.
17-14 Miami on a game-winning field goal. I just have to believe that Miami's going to have to play its best game. They're going to step up. Like anyone, I think Miami covers. That's where I'm at. I think Miami covers this game. More or less, how if they were to lose by how bad, I would say they would lose by like anywhere between 3 to 9. I think it's gonna be a great game. I think it's gonna be a classic. The defense is gonna be huge. Someone's gonna step up, get a nice play. I'm just believing in a Carter Davis game-winning field goal for the win right now.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Jake Felding.
Yeah, I will say if Ohio State does win this game, they got a natty on the way, right?
I'm just afraid of Georgia, man. I would be afraid of Georgia. That is a scary next round you got to play.
And that's the thing for Miami. Like, it's a gauntlet.
Exactly. It is a gauntlet, regardless of if you get past. If you're able to make it past Ohio State this week, which we believe. But yeah, Georgia next round is a little scary for me personally.
Oh, absolutely. But there's something about Ohio State. I genuinely believe they're better than they were last year. And last year they've looked almost unstoppable. So there's something about them this year that makes me feel the same way. I wonder if them losing to Indiana is similar, like a wake up call, the way they lost to Michigan the year before. I'm like every time I watch them play, they just look so dominant at all times. So I think Georgia's really good. So yeah. If Ohio State can block, yeah. I 100% believe that. Especially if they were to dominate Miami, say they beat Miami by like 2 scores, I would be 100% saying that they're looking for back-to-backs.
Yeah. No, it's very fair. I don't know. It's just something in my head just makes me scared of Georgia, but in the next round.
Oh, of course.
But,
you can never not be scared of Georgia. And then even Indiana. Like, Indiana's great. They're a great story, and they have a great team.
They're a great story, but it's just, I don't know. It's like the same way Georgia might be worse than Ohio State, but I'm a little more scared of them.
Yeah.
Indiana might be better than Ohio State, but I'm kind of less scared of them. Which, fair or not, it's just my head. That's the way my head's working right now with these teams. Potential matchups. But regardless if Miami makes it on for this round and loses this round, regardless where things go, very successful season. We'll see how things unfold tomorrow night. And yeah, Happy New Year to everyone. Respect to both teams.
Respect to Ohio State. Absolutely.
And yeah, hopefully we get the get back for 2003 when neither of us were born. So
not even close. Not even close.
Nope.
So yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. Best of luck to both teams tomorrow. Hope for a Miami win. And yeah, we'll see you guys hopefully next Monday.
See you next Monday.
Peace.